The movie starts with an ordinary kid just like you, who introduces himself as Orion. He murmurs to himself about seeing a person all by themselves who might need some company. In front of him, a girl is sitting by the tree eating alone. Orion approaches the girl but only walks past her. He reveals her name to be Sally. Again, he is deep in thought about how he's afraid of what Sally might find out. Orion is a kid who is afraid of most things in general, including Sally. Advised by the school counselor, Orion keeps a tab of his fears in his sketchbook to manage his issues. Those fears include clogging the entire school, reciting wrong answers, and jumbling the words in front of his class, fears that any typical kid might have. There goes Lisa, the third person in the movie, whom Orion isn't a fan of. There's also a lot of things he isn't a fan of: murderous clown sounds on his way home, cell phone waves leading to cancer, mosquito bites spreading infection, falling from great heights, greeting schoolmates, bees, dogs, the ocean, causing his team to lose, and locker rooms. He explains that no sane person stays there, and Richie Panichi, the bully, picks on his name, crying Orion. Orion admits he is afraid of Richie's humiliation of him, getting punched by him, punching him but fearing his nose might dislocate, making him die, and resulting in him getting locked up in bars. His thoughts are snapped, literally, out of his wits when the bully continues picking on him. All of the kids then gather around. Orion's sketchpad is snatched from him, and Richie reads out loud all his fears and even finds his own name written. He gets upset when realizing he was drawn lying dead flat on the ground. Richie rips the page out of the sketchbook and declares the book confiscated. Orion remains silent, but his expression says otherwise. If only he had the guts to resist, telling the bully in front that the sketchbook he poured his whole soul into drawing was his property. Orion withdraws from his thoughts and says, "Thank you," to Richie. Everyone becomes confused, and Richie, in disbelief, tosses the sketchbook back to him. Orion stands there, wondering why he also thanked him. The earlier scene now gets included in his notes. Their teacher reminds the class about the time for the bus leaving early for the planetarium. Orion thought the advisor had forgotten about the school field trip. Lisa looks forward to it, but he's the opposite. He thinks about the field trip as a walking disaster full of his fears. Getting packed inside the school bus, speeding up for a car accident, solar planet models hanging from the ceiling for years might snap and crash on everyone, and the possibility of Sally being his seatmate at the planetarium leading to him having panic attacks and everyone making fun of him, resulting in Orion being lonely. All of them line up and submit the slip for the trip, but his sneaking goes unnoticed by the teacher. When asked, he starts making excuses, saying his parents don't believe in space. The teacher isn't very convinced, but Orion is determined to leave unscathed. Just after, he is confronted by Sally. She admits being excited for their field trip next Monday. After seeing no response from him, she asks if they can sit next to each other on the trip. He starts thinking that if he's not afraid, then he'd like that arrangement. Orion continues saying things in his mind about how he wants to hang out with her. They are interrupted when a car honks by the side of the road. It's Sally's mom to fetch her, so she bids goodbye. She looks forward to seeing him at the planetarium, but his decision is already made. Arriving at home, his mother offers him oatmeal cookies. He grabs one from the plate, which reveals the permission slip for the field trip. His mother claims that his father found it intentionally stuffed under the couch, but Orion denies it. His parents encourage him to go and have fun on the school trip. His mother explains that it's completely normal to be nervous and not let fear control him from living the way he wishes. His father wouldn't have proposed to his mother as a result. As much as Orion loves his parents, he doesn't seem happy about their advice. To Orion, taking risks or staying out of his comfort zones leads to dangers and death. He isn't able to figure out what death is like. Orion imagines death is nothing but only comes up with pitch black surroundings and silence. However, both silence and darkness are still something. Concluding that nothing is unimaginable terrifies him even more. His mother bidding him goodnight discards his current thoughts. He turns on all of his dim lights, afraid of his previous thoughts. Just as he's about to sleep, the lights flicker and go out. Orion starts having a crisis and confesses that the thing he's most afraid of is the dark. The rumblings of thunder outside his window or the lack of any light source from his flashlight make Orion even more horrified. He curses and blames the darkness, telling it to leave him alone. As if on cue, a pitch-black figure emerges from the corners of his bed. This creature lets out a loud noise and begins complaining about its hardships. Then it introduces itself as Dark. Of all the people on the list who met Dark, Orion had the worst reaction. The two begin to know each other and come up with a solution to Orion's fear of almost everything around him. Dark offers Orion the chance to watch while it does its job for one night. That way, his worst fear of darkness will help him overcome and appreciate the beauty of night. He's reluctant at first, but memories of his whole life flash before him, and he finally admits defeat. He and Dark shake hands to make things official. A young girl calling Orion her father interrupts his storytelling. She knows that he's trying to make her overcome her fear of the dark by telling his own story. The girl shows him a poem about Dark written by her and later on further asks what happened. Dark keeps him safe in his arms. Together they fly high up and turn the daytime sky into night. They reach mountain peaks, luscious deep forests, bustling cities, and a tranquil sea at night. Orion is unable to go back home when Dark tells him the next night's cycle should be after 24 hours. Darkness ends just when an illuminating flying entity turns the entire sky into day. Dark then introduces him to his gang of night entities: sleep, quiet, insomnia, unexplained noises, and sweet dreams. Although they don't take things well, as the kid can intervene in the cycle of time, which he later does by ruining the job of the night entities. The buddies watch Sleep do its job by either suffocating a person with a pillow, making them take a whiff from his bottle, and giving an unhygienic kiss. He suspects the bottle to be chloroform, some magic stuff as Dark would say it. Even a cute little baby gets a visit, and receives a sleeping hammer just when Orion further stops Sleep from questionable methods. Then comes Insomnia, the one in charge of whispering worrisome things in ears. If a person still sleeps soundly, Insomnia takes out a replaying record on their head. Orion finds it ridiculous how it's the one responsible for all the sleepless nights. Next is Quiet, which does its job in peace. Quiet absorbs all the noise in the neighborhood inside its mouth and disappears into its body. Orion takes in all the silent scenery. Only his breathing, thumping heart, and throat are the sounds he can hear. He complains out loud that it's too quiet, which wakes everyone up and makes noise again. Quiet lets out squeaks to Dark, ones they don't understand, but Quiet clearly sounds angry. They suddenly hear strange sounds. Dark grabs him to introduce unexplained noises just nearby the trash cans. After planting a crunching sound with scrapes on the trash can, unexplained noises begins demonstrating. A kid inside the house gets scared, which makes Orion call out to the kid, assuring it's not real. Unexplained noises confronts him, saying they are disrupting the balance of nature, and makes them leave. Lastly, they follow a purple trail going door to door. It's time to see Sweet Dreams work. Both buddies get led inside a woman's subconscious. They see Sweet Dreams projecting Irene, the woman, her desires into a good dream. This reminds Orion of his past nightmares. Every time he has thought of something, it influences the subconsciousness. So when Orion recalls school, his schoolmate Richie Panichi emerges. Giant-sized Richie captures him to drop in the toilet bowl, but an empty door starts consuming every object in the area. Orion is saved by Dark, who manages to get out of the locker, but Richie doesn't. Everything turns into a disaster, but Dark claims that something has changed in the kid. Orion doesn't fear Dark anymore. As they continue traveling over the world, turning day into night, he begins to appreciate the nature and beauty of night. Insomnia even gets praise from him for whispering sleepless thoughts. They travel further across the ocean. Some parents by the window get scared away by Orion's weird sound, which unexplained noises laughs off. Counting sheep to sleep while dreaming goes smoothly as he helps them jump off. He starts to accompany Quiet while it cancels all noises on their way. It's safe to say that he finally accepts the balance and beauty of things. Although reality isn't always rainbows and sunshine for our shady cloak friend, people are afraid of the unknown, and that includes Dark. When it's time for Orion to go back and catch up with the field trip, they meet Light. The arch-nemesis of Dark turns night into day, and they aren't really on good terms. The two entities of day and night are unable to be near each other, as one will disappear into existence. Orion's daughter offers to take a walk just like how Dark and he do. Both seem to agree that choosing the dark path isn't ideal. He explains that the story is complicated even after Orion met Dark, as the real him is still scared and faces problems later on. Orion and Dark then get into an argument. How is it that Light looks vibrant and pretty in comparison to Dark's dull and empty appearance? The entities of night start to blame Dark for the cause of their misery and decide to join Light. It's only a matter of time before Orion returns home, and Dark will be left all alone to travel. Light approaches their way. Dark stands still and faces him head on. He decides to end things. Dark slowly disperses in the presence of Light. In his final moments, Orion tries to reach out, but it's to no avail. In present time, Orion and his daughter end up sitting flat on the floor of the planetarium. On its domed ceiling, the dazzling night sky full of stars and constellations is projected. His daughter comes up with an idea for the next story, wondering what if she shows up in his younger days and brings back Dark. Hypatia, his daughter, brings out the notebook she kept and unveils the poem about Dark. Everything went into shambles when the entities of night joined Light. Unexplained noises makes unnecessary noise. Insomnia puts everyone inconveniently asleep. Quiet never gets heard. Light overworks 24/7, and the absence of darkness puts the world in catastrophe. She recites that she once thought that dark was the absence of light, but it is the place where the starlight is bright. Now that it's gone, I miss the night. Now the only thing left is light. Together they figure a way to bring back Dark and go inside Orion's memories in a dream. He recalls the first time he encountered his friend in his bedroom. A surge of pitch-black entity emerges, and Dark finally comes back. Their warm reunion is cut off when the empty door opens and consumes everything in the room. When Dark is about to get sucked into the void, Orion faces his fear and comes to the rescue. The rope made of cloth supporting them rips, and they fall. Both struggle to get out of the void, and the night entities wake up Orion upon mentioning the school field trip. He remembers his promise to his schoolmate Sally. Dark emerges outside of his dreams and restores the balance of day and night. The stars shine brightly up in the sky that night. For one last time, they travel around the world to bring back darkness. Hypatia returns to her timeline with the help of her son's time machine module, who is the pilot. She grows up and tells her son about the story. Hypatia can be seen bidding Orion and her mother goodnight. The old couple sits still, admiring the stars in the very same sky where Orion and Sally sat next to each other in the planetarium.